think it's interesting to ask the question of, is self-reflexive consciousness, what we experience in ourselves, an accident? I think there have been people who have suggested that the Big Bang, the cosmos itself, happened by an accident. See, accident is such an odd word. I don't know what information people would have to have in order to have the adequate framework to say that life, the cosmos, was an accident. Unfortunately, this is one of these situations where I think people seem to pit on purpose or by design to accident. Now, those words are just as problematic. On purpose or by design does seem to suggest some sort of creator separated from the created who designed it or somehow built it or is hanging around, I don't know, independently of it. I think part of the problem, yes, is to be honest about our feeble attempts to try to understand what it is that makes up everything around us, including us. Accident doesn't seem to be the best word for it, especially if someone holds to a completely deterministic universe. I think it's odd. I mean, it's almost like an odd juxtaposition to hear people talk about the cosmos as an accident and then hold to a hardline determinist view. Some person wants to say everything is just absolutely fully within a materialist, determinist, view, that's the way to account for it all, is by materialist, determinist uh, accounts. I mean, I guess you wonder I don't know, what would that even mean then, to say that anything is an accident? It seems odd. No, everything is necessary then. It seems there you'd argue that it was necessary or inevitable or had to be. But those don't seem like they're going to work either. It seems like there's no word that's going to give adequate frame. And framing does seem to be the problem. I don't know if there will ever be. I mean, I think it's sort of like the problem that Gregory Bateson talked about with the frame inside the frame. There's always going to be a problem of what is that frame outside of the frame, right? I mean, you have, if you say, one thing, I have a pen. I can see the pen because of what's not the pen. See the pen because of what's not the pen. And so there is this sort of figure background problem. But then what is the background for the background? There always seems to be a needed background for the background, and we don't notice that problem for the most part because we're only attending to the figure in the background. But the background always assumes another background. And there doesn't seem to be an end to the background to that background, and then the background that's needed for the background of the background of the background. It just starts to echo into, we're not really sure what would be the adequate place to stand in order to say, yes, this would be the sufficient framework for saying that life or the cosmos is an accident, is something that, as a fluke, just came out of materialistic causality. Now, in contrast to that, we can ask questions about language, and in more specifically, we can ask questions about literacy and alphabetic literacy, Western tradition, the advent of the printing press, telegraph, and modern technological capacities. Here, I think, it starts to become very apparent that much that we take to be our self-conscious reality was a gift that now is bestowed somewhat upon us. not literally, but somewhat made available to us by the purposeful, intentional dealings of people who lived before us. Yeah, it seems like there is an issue of intention and the creation of the world, creation of that social world, all the, I guess, the services, the products, the basic infrastructure that we use in the way that we make our way around the world. It seems like all of that wasn't, I mean, you could partly say it was an accident, but it was actually people in their purposes striving to create things that then left legacies that could be appropriated by others. So I guess those are just some thoughts about the question of what would be the adequate frame to say life is or is not an accident. Okay, thanks.